In today's video, we're diving into one of the most surprising and accidental Windows revelations we've seen in years. Microsoft has leaked early references to Windows 11 version 26H1, but not through insider builds, blog posts, or developer documentation. Instead, the clue appeared deep inside a Windows 10 patch, revealing a new update branch codenamed Bromine, and tied to upcoming ARM-powered Snapdragon X2 Elite devices. What does this mean for Windows? What does it mean for you? And does this leak offer clues about the future 26H2 update? Let's break it all down in the most simple, engaging, and SEO-friendly way possible. Microsoft has just made its first references to Windows 11 version 26H1, and the way it happened has taken the entire Windows community by surprise, because unlike previous leaks or insider build hints, this new Windows version wasn't discovered in a Windows 11 preview, but instead buried inside a Windows 10 patch, creating one of the strangest and most unexpected update revelations we've seen in years. And today we're breaking down everything we know so far, everything that's been confirmed, both intentionally and accidentally, and what this means for the future of Windows development. Starting with the fact that Microsoft recently released a KB5066791 update for Windows 10. But this update caused an odd issue where many users suddenly started seeing end-of-support messages for the operating system ahead of schedule, forcing Microsoft to roll out a known issue rollback, known as a KIR, to address the problem. And hidden within the code of that KIR was a string that developers and Windows enthusiasts quickly discovered, reading supported Windows 11 0 26H1 only, which marks the very first confirmed mention of Windows 11 26H1 from Microsoft itself, giving credibility to the rumors that 26H1 was being developed as a major new branch internally, even though Microsoft had not officially announced it publicly. And what's even more fascinating is that this reference appeared inside a Windows 10 patch, an older operating system that Microsoft is slowly phasing out, raising the question of how and why internal Windows 11 development identifiers ended up inside the rollback code for Windows 10, suggesting that Microsoft's update systems and shared components may be more interconnected than many assume. And while the discovery itself doesn't reveal much about features or design changes, it does confirm several important details we already suspected. Starting with the fact that Windows 11 26H1 is codenamed Bromine, a new internal platform that is currently being tested. Through Canary builds bearing version numbers in the 27XXX range, showing that Microsoft is preparing substantial under-the-hood platform evolution rather than immediate consumer-facing features. And this ties perfectly into what insiders have been saying for months, that 26H1 is not intended for current Windows 11 PCs, but instead is a special release built specifically for next-generation ARM hardware, particularly devices powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon X2 Elite chipset, which aims to take ARM PCs to a new level of performance and challenge Apple Silicon more directly. And according to early reports and documentation, 26H1 is expected to serve as a foundational system layer for upcoming ARM devices launching in late 2025 or early 2026, meaning this update is unlikely to ever be delivered to existing Windows 11 systems running on Intel or AMD processors. And the fact that Bromine builds are appearing in Canary reinforces that Microsoft is working on long-term architectural changes, possibly preparing for a future where ARM becomes a much more central part of the Windows ecosystem, especially as the Snapdragon X Elite and X2 Elite chips continue to close the performance gap with x86 CPUs. And this raises several fascinating questions, such as whether ARM devices will receive both 26H1 and 26H2, or whether 26H1 is simply a transitional platform update meant solely for OEM partners working on new hardware, because at the same time, Microsoft already has a plan. Windows 11 26H2 update schedule for the second half of 2026, which is a major feature update that all current Windows 11 users will receive, meaning 26H2 remains the real successor to 25H2, while 26H1 appears to function as a hardware enablement branch rather than a consumer operating system release. And this also means that the accidental reference inside the Windows 10 patch gives us indirect but valuable insight into Microsoft's internal development timelines and priorities, showing that the company is actively testing critical platform layers across ARM hardware while still finalizing mainstream features separately. And while we don't yet know whether 26H2 will build directly on Bromine or whether Microsoft plans to merge these branches later in the development cycle, it's clear that 26H1 could offer early clues about architectural changes that might eventually appear in mainstream builds, such as improved performance optimizations, deeper AI integration for next-gen NPUs, enhanced scheduling for big little architectures, and potentially better battery efficiency for portable devices. But at this moment, everything remains speculative since Microsoft has not confirmed any features or UI changes for 26H1, and considering how locked down ARM development typically is, especially when dealing with unreleased silicon like the Snapdragon X2 Elite, it makes sense that the company would avoid speaking publicly about the update until hardware partners are ready to ship their devices. And this entire situation highlights how complex Microsoft's update ecosystem has become, especially with multiple parallel branches, including Dev, Beta, Release Preview, and Canary, each serving different purposes. And while most users will continue receiving updates through the 25H2 platform, Windows enthusiasts and developers can expect more Bromine-based builds in the Canary channel as Microsoft refines support for next-generation ARM processors. But for everyday Windows users, the key takeaway is simple. Windows 11 26H1 is not your next update. It is not something to worry about, and it will not replace 25H2 on your PC, because Microsoft is saving all mainstream improvements for the 26H2 release in late 2026. So our recommendation is to stay on stable builds, avoid Canary unless you are a tester or developer, and keep your device updated through the regular channels, because the real exciting Windows changes for consumers will come with 26H2, while 26H1 remains a behind-the-scenes milestone in Microsoft preparation for the ARM-powered future Windows. And with that, thank you for watching, stay curious, stay updated, and this is TechVerse.